just so excited about being on the front row at a virtual conference, the EURAM 2020 conference. I think it's now a few weeks ago. This is 1 or 2 weeks ago. Time flies, lots of calls, but I'll never forget the moment when Charlotte and Lucine presented many hours of studies and work on the motivation factors of participation in virtual communities of practice. And that's what we are, that's what Educate for Life is, a virtual community of practice, which is in our case about the future of education, whatever that means, but that's what it's about. And we've been gathering interviews from participants in the 2019 Educate for Life sprint. So we got testimonials, we got feedback, we got interesting points of view on what motivated everybody who participated in that sprint. And this has been so well documented now by Lucine and by Charlotte, and put into a paper that Lucine and Charlotte presented, like, remind me, 1 or 2 weeks ago at the EURAM 2020 conference. And I can tell you, I was just so excited about these findings. Again, there's a lot we can learn as a community to improve the work we do, to work even better together, to have even more impact on the world. And that's the exciting opportunity. And I think building on Lucine and Charlotte's amazing work since beginning of 2019 is such an amazing opportunity. And Lucine and Charlotte has agreed to come here again today, to do it over again, to do the presentation over again, and it's something to look forward to, I can tell you all. And after the presentation, I'm sure we'll get into a good discussion about the motivation factors of participation in a community like this. And all viewpoints, all experiences are welcome. But first, I think we should all give a round of applause to Lucine and Charlotte for the work they have done and for being here with us on this Wednesday. So welcome, Lucine and Charlotte. Good to have you here. Thank you for being here.
Thank you very much, Lars, for this introduction. Charlotte, maybe you will say hello and then we'll start.
Okay, so hi everybody. So for the people I don't know yet, I had the chance to discover Educate for Life about 2 years ago, and to be like the pioneer, and discovering the EXO approach. So I was just opening the door and seeing light, and now I fully enter in everything. So I'm like 200% engaged in so many things, and actually it's thanks to Lars, because he decided to launch Educate for Life. So I'm also very about emotions today. So today I'm very happy to introduce you to Lucine. So with Lucine Azomagno, we had the chance to do a couple of research papers about a key topic, which is innovation communities, because so currently I'm based in Morocco. Before I worked for Lego, where I manage an innovation community on learning through play. And before that, I was managing another innovation community at Group SEB, which is a French domestic appliance leader. And Lucine was a PhD student at this time, and she did her PhD about this innovation committee. So we are used to write together, like the collaboration is working very well. We love to do case studies together. So I'm very happy to introduce you Lucine. Today she's based in Lyon and France, and she will tell you more about this paper. And I think it's great because Educate for Life, when we did the paper, we didn't know it would become the committee it is today. So it was a case study, and now it's so amazing to see like it's an exponential community because it's really going like that. And so congratulations, Lars. And we will be able to talk later about that. So the paper was about what are the motivation factors that make the people engaging and participating in innovation committees. So please, Lucine, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Charlotte, for your introduction. Do you want to share the slide, or you want that I share it?
If you don't mind to share, it's okay. Otherwise, I can do it. I have on my computer. It's up to you.
Please, if it is possible, yeah, it
Sure.
would be great. Thank you very much.
Hold on. I just go on the good. So first, I will go on Zoom. I share my screen. Educate4Life, sharing. And all, please tell me if you can see the screen for, especially
It's
Lucy.
okay.
Right.
Just if you can just put on full screen, great. Thank you very much, Charlotte, for sharing the screen. Hello, everybody. It's a big pleasure to present you today this paper that we have written with Charlotte and Grace to Lars and all people who were directly involved by giving us different interviews we will speak about later. What I did for this paper, I decided to bring the, the academic approach. So I did my literature review, and Charlotte decided to bring to this empirical part, and she conducted lots of interviews with Lars, and we could at the end prepare this paper and present it to the European Academy of Management, which is one of the most prestigious conference in field of the management in the world, and it was really very, very interesting. Let me to present first of all what we have identified as introduction. What are the research gaps that we could identify? Next, please, Charlotte. Well, we saw that beyond the technological aspects, the success of an effective virtual community is mostly connected with the motivation of its members. And it's very important to be in a community where you can have lots of people who are really interested and who are really bringing their knowledge, their experience in order to improve things. So we decided to understand what can motivate these people, what are the motivation factors. But for the first time, we have already identified that in the literature, there is a research gap. And researchers also highlighted the real need for additional studies, not only for about the functioning of a community of practice, especially virtual communities of practice, but also especially about these motivation factors. So that's why we decided to work on this topic. Yes, please. Our research question was about what motivation factors drive people to put their effort and enthusiasm for knowledge collaboration in a virtual community of practice. And for doing it, next please, we have decided to mobilize the literature about the virtual communities of practice in general, and also the self-determination theory of motivation, because there are lots of different theories which can explain the motivation of people. But we decided to focus our attention especially on this literature because we understood that people are sharing their experience when it's coming from them, and this is not something which is connected with the external world. I mean, we understood that the motivation, long-term motivation, is connected with intrinsic motivation. I mean that you are doing because you want to do, and not you are sharing your experience because you are rating some, external awards or some prime or something like this. So you are doing because you want to do, and that's why people are really contributing to different communities of practice. Next, please, Charlotte. In the literature review, as you see here, and as I have already said, we decided to focus on self-determination theory. Self-determination theory was developed in the beginning of 2000, so there are lots of different modifications that have been done in this field. But the main idea is that the founders of this theory, they think that people are motivated to grow and change around different topics by three innate and universal psychological needs. What are these psychological needs? Competence, autonomy, and relatedness. And let's see together what does it mean, competence, autonomy, and relatedness, according to these founders of this self-determination theory. Next, please, Charlotte. How these authors are defining the competence. According to them, people feel that they have the skills needed for success. They are more likely to take actions. It's like that you have, let's say, what is your field of specialization? It can be marketing, it can be management, it can be human resources, or it can be in completely other very different field of specialization that I have mentioned. But if you know that you have some skills, you have some competencies, you will be confident and you will contribute more and more. I mean that first you have some competencies, and second, you know that this community can help you to acquire some additional competencies. So there is two meanings for this competence. Okay. The second point is autonomy. According to these authors, people need to feel in control of their behaviors and goals. So people like them when they can control their own behavior and they are not depending on the others. And the sense of being able to take direct action that will result in the real change. And of course, this factor of autonomy, it will play a major part in helping people feel self-determined. So I take the example, now it's already 4 years that I'm independent. I mean that I created my company and at the same time I'm teaching. I have some teaching activities. And actually for me, it was really important. I see on my own experience that if I have this level of autonomy, I will be more confident to share, and I will be more maybe open-minded to share and to contribute, to share my knowledge and share my experience when I see that this level of autonomy is granted. The last point is relatedness. You know that people need to experience a sense of belonging and attachment to other people. So that's why they are coming together to share their experience, to feel that they are not alone in their corner, and actually they can share some experiences. They can have some free advices from people that they even don't know, which was, for instance, my case with Lars. And actually, you are here because you have this innate, let's say, psychological need to belong to something, to be surrounded from different people. These are the three main points of motivation factors that we have identified in the literature. And we said, okay, this is what is saying in the literature. Let's see if we can check it and we can confirm these ideas in our case of study. And actually, not only I will let you to see the details. Our value, our edit value was not only just to check if this is really the case, if people are motivated because there are these three factors: competence, autonomy, and relatedness. Our aim in the beginning was to go ahead and to try to suggest something which will really have added value, and why not to suggest to offer a framework for people who are interested in this topic. For doing this, we decided to focus our attention on this virtual community of practice, Educate4Life, which is a 100% online virtual international community available through the platform. The sample of our research was just we are used proposal sampling. I'm explaining what does it mean proposal sampling. I mean that we have observed different interactions on platform, and we had different interviews with Lars in order to understand who are the people who are in core group. I mean, they are really 100% involved in this community, who are people who are just active and they are participating from time to time, and who are people who are here, but they don't have the same level of participation comparing with active people and core groups people. So in our sampling, we decided to include people from each level, core group, active member, and periphery, in order to understand what are their motivation factors. Globally, we could conduct 14 semi-structured interviews. What does it mean, semi-structured interviews? We had some open question. It wasn't just some questionnaire that we are sending and people are answering yes or no. We had some open questions, and we tried to have some, real interaction with these people in order to understand what are the real motivation factors. Why we are calling semi-structured? Because we had our guideline, interview guideline that we have developed with Charlotte before starting our interviews. So that's why we are calling semi-structured. All interviews were subscribed and actually transcribed and analyzed. For the analyze, we used the sentences, the verbatims with the different interviewer, and actually we could at the end identify some common factors for these two purposes. First of all, to understand if these three factors mentioned in the literature, they are really working, and to see for the second time if we can bring something new to the existing literature. Now I will invite Charlotte to develop the empirical part of the study and to present the results. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lucine. So it was the methodological part to explain you what was the research question, what was the methodology, and now we will focus more on the case and the key findings. So as you know, the case was actually a year earlier, because it was about Educate4Life that was created in December 2018 by Lars. And the main goal of the community, as you know, is redefining what education means for children and adults and creating new types of education on the edge of the existing education system. So when we made the study with Lucine, there was about 22 core group members, 50 active members, and about 200 periphery members, whose participation in the life of community remains casual. So I will not go again on with whom we did the interview. I will focus on what we discovered. So there is actually two key findings. The first one is there was a confirmation of the self-determination theory, and there was the proposal of a new motivation factor. For the confirmation of the self-determination theory, about the competence, actually we realized that people were joining this community because they were willing to learn something and grow their skills, like learning new techniques, grow their skills on the EXO sprint methodology. Many people were very interested in discovering the approach and having a hands-on learning because it was the opportunity offered by the community. And also some people, it was their first experience in the international online community, and actually they were willing to learn how is it working and how is it possible to grow such an international community. For the autonomy, actually what we realized is people were happy to be here because they were the entrepreneur of their life. They were able to decide how to invest their time. And it's a privilege you do not always have. So they had the possibility to prioritize their time and interest, to get involved at several levels. For example, they could just be an observer of the community, or they could be an advisor where they could support one of the sprint team, or they could be a sprinter where they could be actively involved during 10 weeks in an EXO sprint. So they were able to pick the role of their choice and to invest their time as they wanted. And finally, there was the relatedness to a purposeful community. So they were happy to connect with like-minded people and also access a diversity of an international community, because actually there was people from very different backgrounds, from different countries and cultures. So it was very interesting, especially during the hangouts, to chat with the people. And for these people, it was an opportunity also to expand their network. So for the proposal of new motivation factors, so through the interview, there was 3 main points that were underlined about the motivation. First, the people, they were very attracted by the massive transformative purpose. For those of you that already know EXO, so you know what it is. And for the one that do not know yet, at least one of the exponential attributes that are key to drive actually all the EXO transformation that is required. And in that case, for this community, the massive transformative purpose was a key motivation factor for people to join, because they all share the same interest to work on the future of education, to disrupt that. And they were all attracted by the possibility to have a collective impact. We will go back on that part. There was also the access to exclusive resources and activities. I will show you more with an illustration. And finally, there was the key role of the community leader. So let's focus on these 3 parts. So for, as I said, the massive transformative purpose, it was a key driver, actually, because what motivated people is to have a collective impact and to bring their piece of the puzzle and their knowledge, talent, time to be able to have a collective impact with other people. And designing the future of education was MTPs that was strong enough to bring people from different backgrounds and having the willingness to have different impacts. Some people, for example, they were much more interested in education for adults, other people much more about education for children or for teenager, university, etc. But all of them, they were willing to disrupt and imagine the future of education and to have a collective impact and to support themselves through mutual help. Regarding the exclusive resources and activities, I just copy-pasted some illustration because I don't know if you were here at the time. But for example, there was actually, it was the uniqueness of the resources are so amazing in Educate4Life, because there was a bunch of events, online courses and groups, just to have few examples. So in terms of events and hangout, people were able to launch their own sprint team. So it's still about autonomy. You could decide to say, hey, I have a great idea, who is willing to follow me? And if you were able to have followers, then you were able to start the adventure. It's what happened to me. Then there was a lot of social meet and greets, community call. So you had a lot of opportunities to meet members in, so there was already a lot of members, but you were able to connect with 4, 5, 15 people at the same time and have a little chat. And I remember also the Jerry's brain, where actually we were able to have a chat with Jerry. And for me, it's really like a key souvenir about that, where actually we were able to ask technical question, and he was able to search in his brain, which has a double sense. We can talk about that later. Then about unique resources, it's all these online courses. For example, on my side, I had the chance to do the design your personal MTP that was transformational, because it helps you to say, okay, what will make you wake up at 6 in the morning and be super excited because you know you can achieve something amazing, and you're not even paid for that, but it's amazing. And then if you're lucky, you're able to do your passion job following your MTP. But still, it was courses I've never seen before, and that it's such a added value for people. Then there was also speakers, like it was so interesting to have like a hands-on speakers that were coming to explain what they did and what were their challenges and lesson learned. So it was really like a hands-on community. And finally, there was also all these groups. So here I did some copy-paste of current groups, but the thing is, at the end, you do your market. and follow your passion, and you will meet the people you want to meet and achieve the impact you want to achieve and develop your networking. So all of that is really, I've been studied and working with many communities, and I can tell you Educate4Life is really a case because it's so active. People are connected every day, they come, they chat, they support themselves, and it's the magic of the collective impact. And finally, last but not least, the impact and the key role of the community leader. So if I would have a question to ask to Lars is like, how do you do to be everywhere in so many places all the time? And
This Lars's avatar speaking.
Okay. I'm sure you have the trick because actually communities, it's also about people, and what was underlined in the interviews was actually the key role of the community leader. So it's Lars, that was really seen as an energizer. It's a person that was so optimistic and that has so much positivity that is contagious. And talking with Lars will always give you new ideas to connect with people, to follow something. And I don't know if it's the key component, but for me, it's one of the key driver of the success and also the motivation of people, because the way people were welcome, the engagement was driven, actually was on a big extent on the shoulder of the community leader. It's not only that, but it's people also come because there was this leader in front of them. So thank you, Lars, for all this engagement. And if we continue about the findings, so in a research article, we always try to conceptualize things. And here, if I had to draw the key idea of the article, as you can see here, so the research question was, what motivation factor drive people to put their effort and enthusiasm for knowledge collaboration into virtual community of practice? And what we decided to do with Lucine and Lars was to position the member at the center, because actually it's you as a member that decide to do something of your life to have an impact. And then actually the member is like an entrepreneur that is able to invest his or her time, talent, and effort in a community. And why they will be willing to give so much and also receive so much is because they are attracted by the MTP of the community. So really the MTP is important to attract new members, but also retain active members. So in the case of Educate4Life, it's about redesigning the future of education. And then, of course, on top of all of that, so we just underlined the self-determination theory, so the ability to be autonomous and have choice in the way you play your role of member, and the role you decide to pick and the group you decide to invest. There was also, of course, the competence. People were happy to develop their skills and learn this EXO approach and have hands-on learning. And of course, the connection and the possibility to be connected with like-minded people. And as Lucini said, this need to belong to a community was very strong. And of course, we also underline the key role of the leader as an energizer. That is the key person that help all the music to play perfectly. So that was one of the key findings of the article. And as a conclusion, so of course we confirmed the self-determination theory, but why people are motivated to grow and change and join and be involved in the community. So to grow their competence, autonomy, and because there's a strong relatedness with the purpose and why this community is for. And also we underline things that actually are typically from EXO, like MTP, massive transformative purpose, because people want to have a collective impact, and that is also strengthened when there is a sense of urgency. There was also all these exclusive resources and activities that were available for people to grow and increase their competence. So that's what we have seen. And finally, the key role of the energizing leader. So in terms of limit and perspectives, of course, we could extend the analysis carried out over a longer period to measure the effect linked, for example, with the exchanges between members of the study community. The choice also made by Educate4Life to motivate its members could also be compared with other similar virtual committee of practice. And also, we didn't take the technological angle because sometimes communities, they are just studied through the online tool that they are used, like in this case, it's Mighty Network, but we could have a specific focus on what is the role of the tool. Usually what we can see is like, it needs to be good enough not to be a barrier for engagement, but it will not be a motivation factor. It's just a way to support the engagement. So that's it for the presentation. And before to receive any question or remarks, actually, I don't know if you realize, but by the way, actually Educate4Life was created exactly 2 years ago. Sorry, Lars, if you were planning to do a special birthday in January. I decided let's celebrate today. We don't know how 2021 will come. And for the ones that were not here, I'm sorry because Justina Pietrzak is not here. She has been a key and amazing member since the beginning of the adventure. So at this period, when we celebrated the end of the sprint, the logo of Educate4Life was exactly as you can see on this cake. And I remember we were so amazed when one day Justina just sent a picture and say, okay, let's celebrate all this adventure. And we were just amazed by the work we did. And actually, it's really like in French, we say a mascot. It means like a key symbol that we remember in the story of that. And of course, Educate4Life is not only a cake. It's people. It has been 2 years. There was this amazing adventure. And actually for Lars, we have just a little surprise for you, because usually when there's birthday, there's a birthday card. And actually there was many people that wanted to tell you, thank you, Lars, because you had such an amazing engagement. And so here, so I don't know if you can see that we collected a couple of key sentences from people that have been involved since the beginning. So if some people are not, feel free to join, but I think it's important. It's just few people from the beginning of the adventure, but it was just to say that, Lars, actually you impacted the life of so many people. And I just think this Educate4Life adventure is so amazing. You brought an idea, and now it's a community, it's real people. You impacted the life of these people, and they are happy to be in this community. So really congratulations, Lars. We will send you the birthday card afterwards, and well done for everything. Yeah. And I'm done with the presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you.